Mic testing, mic testing. Oh boy, I hope I like this first video. Oh my god. Oh my god, the body. A third, baby. Easy dubs. What a game, what a game. So, before I get to the movie this video is about, I like to say something, and that's we all love a good movie, especially a good animated movie. And 2022 was definitely a year that had its ups and downs when it came to animated movies. Some off the top of my head include Sonic 2, which is obviously part live action, part animated film, depending on how you take it. And I'm a huge Sonic fan. I was really hyped for this movie when it released. I don't know if you can tell that I'm a Sonic fan, but in case you didn't, I have little tails up there on my little cabinets. But yeah, I'm a huge Sonic fan. It was a movie. Me and other Sonic fans, of course, were hyped for its release. Now, other movies off the top of my head include my favorite movie of the year, Puss in Boots: The Last Wish, which literally released like a month ago. Well, actually less than a month ago, a few weeks. But it's a movie that I highly recommend you watch if you haven't. In my opinion, it's up there with Shrek 1 and 2. That's a bold statement, but take that as you may after watching the movie. I'm hoping to make a video about that movie soon, hopefully in the upcoming weeks. But yeah, it's a movie, like I said, that I highly recommend. Go watch it. It's great. It'll blow your mind. Great villains, great characters, great everything. Great story too, which don't forget about that. But yeah, another movie off the top of my head is Minions 2: The Rise of Gru, made by Illumination Studios. And it's actually Illumination Studios who's making the movie that we're going to talk about today in this video. And this movie is none other than the Super Mario Bros. Movie. A movie that, in case you didn't see the trailer, it looks great. It looks like a masterpiece in all its forms. The cast is stacked. The voice acting performances are great. And this cast is absolutely insane. With Jack Black as Bowser, which, if you didn't see the trailer, he put an outstanding performance for. It's a perfect role for him, and I have no doubt in my mind that he's going to be one of the many highlights of this movie just from looking at the trailer. Now, of course, there's other huge castings in this movie. Other castings include Michael Key, or as many of you know him, Key, as Toad, Anya Taylor-Joy as Princess Peach, which is another huge casting in my opinion. And she put a great voice acting performance in all of the trailers this movie has had. And of course, everyone's favorite voice actor, Chris Pratt. All jokes aside though, my favorite casting for this movie, which I sadly haven't heard a voice line for, and I hope they drop another trailer soon with his voice in it, because this casting is absolutely mind-blowing, and I think is absolutely perfect for this character who I've known and loved for like basically my whole life. And that is the absolute GOAT, Seth Rogen as Donkey Kong. An absolute masterpiece of a casting. I played Donkey Kong all of my life on my Wii. When I hacked my Wii U, I downloaded a bunch of his games. I love this casting, and I love Seth Rogen and all of the movies he's been in. And I couldn't be more excited for this role and for this movie. And he's just like the cherry on top that I needed to fall in love with this casting. Now, like I've been saying up to this point in the video, these castings are super stacked, super major. They have huge expectations for this movie, except Chris Pratt, of course. But other than that, I think this movie will live up to those expectations. However, although these castings are super great, these are not the ones I want to talk about in this video. Now, as many of you know, Mario is a Nintendo game, and Nintendo is a Japanese company. So obviously this movie would have a huge Japanese audience, which would obviously lead to it having a Japanese dub. And it's these castings I want to talk about today in this video. Now, before I get into these castings, I'd like to say I'm not only hyped and excited for these just because I'm an anime fan, as many of you may know, but because if you've seen the work of some of these voice actors, they're absolutely brilliant in their craft, and there's really no reason you shouldn't be excited for this film if you know the work they've put in the past in other projects, of course. I'd also like to talk about this in my channel and in my first video because I feel like in the media in general, voice actors aren't really given the recognition they deserve in any major award ceremonies, that be like the Oscars and things like that. Just because many voice actors don't do like in-person acting. And because of this, many forms of media choose to give them less recognition than they deserve. And voice actors work in many forms of media, including gaming, cartoons, anime, all sorts of things that I grew up with. Like you can see, oh shoot, in the back of my room, I have a Dragon Ball poster, I have a One Piece poster, I have the Tales right there that I mentioned earlier, which I got into because of Sonic X, an anime that, of course, had Japanese voice actors participating in. And they have contributed so much to my childhood. And I don't know, I feel like I, consuming a lot of their content, should be aware that they don't get the recognition they deserve for all they've done for me and many other children in the West, which is where I'm from, of course. And yeah, I'd like to give them the time of day in this video. Now, obviously, I'm not some major creator with a major influence who's going to be spreading this message to like many platforms and things like that, but it's something I'd like to talk about on this channel, and I'd like you to see what my channel might be like going forward. So, onto these voice actors. Like I said earlier in the video, these voice actors are extremely talented, and I would highly suggest you look them up after watching this video in case you don't know them, and look into some of the work they've done, because I think you'll be rather surprised by how impressive it is if you didn't know them. Sorry if I butcher some of these names while reading them. I'm obviously not Japanese, and I hope I'm not disrespecting anyone who's watching this by the way I pronounce these names, but I hope to learn, and if you like, educate me in the comments on how to pronounce some of these names. But Mamoru Miyano, the voice of Light Yagami from Death Note, will be playing Mario in this movie. This is a huge casting, and if you haven't seen Death Note, I highly recommend. It was a beginner anime when I started getting into the more adult side of anime, and I I'd highly recommend it if you haven't given it a watch. Other castings for this movie include Tasuku Hatanaka, the voice of Denki in My Hero Academia, and a lesser-known role, Yuma from Yu-Gi-Oh! Zexal, as the voice of Luigi. Now, like I said earlier, I grew up with anime, so I do know who Yuma is from Yu-Gi-Oh! Zexal, and I ended up rewatching it when I got older in the sub because I felt like Yu-Gi-Oh! Overall as a series was better in that regard in comparison to the dub voice acting. Also, I watched My Hero Academia. Denki is, in my opinion, the funniest character of the series, and it makes me excited for his role in this movie too. Now, for me, the most impressive casting for the Japanese dub of this movie is none other than Kenta Mikaye. And before I even say some of the projects he's done, these projects are absolutely huge. With My Hero Academia, like Tasuku Hatanaka, Kenta Mikaye has also participated in this series, but as the voice of an even more iconic character to that series, All Might, which is my favorite character of the series. And he's also had another voice line of another important character from anime as a whole, and that's Scar from Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood, my favorite series of all time when it comes to anime, and another I highly recommend you watch. But yeah, he will be voicing Bowser in the Japanese dub of this movie, and all of these castings are insane, and I'm definitely going to be watching the Japanese dub of this movie and the English dub of this movie. Now, we've all seen the chip scene in Death Note.
リュウクの情報と前もっての仕込みでどう見ても勉強している受験生を装いながら僕はデスノートで今報道されている犯罪者を殺すことができる。右手で方程式を解き続け左手で名前を書きポテチを取り食べる。
We've all seen this scene of Denki in My Hero Academia.
チケスのボディスーツいいんじゃん。あの女の人、実は彼女、すっぱだかのまま緑屋と岩陰にいたんだよ。緑屋！試験中だと舐めてんのか人生は。あの人とお前は何をして見損なったぜナンパテンパ野郎。
And we've all seen All Might's speech when fighting All for One in my... All of these are some of the, with the exception of Denki, the best scenes of their characters in their show. And it really makes me excited for what they're going to contribute to this film. And I think, like the English dub, they're going to exceed the expectations that they have right now. I'm super excited for this dub. And like I'm going to do, I highly recommend you'd watch both dubs of this movie. The hype for this movie just keeps on getting bigger. And I really can't wait till April to watch this movie. I'm probably going to pre-order my tickets as soon as they drop. But yeah, this is all I kind of wanted to say in this video about this movie, because I was really excited when seeing all these castings, and I wanted to share it with y'all for my first video on this channel. Like I said earlier in the video, I want to produce more content on this channel, and one of the videos I'd want to make is a review of Puss in Boots: The Last Wish, which, like I said earlier in the video as well, I highly recommend you give a watch. I'm super excited for what's to come on this channel, and hopefully you join in the journey with me to grow on YouTube and talk about subjects me and you hopefully like. But yeah, that's all I wanted to say in this video. Hopefully y'all leave a like, a follow. That sounds kind of cringy that I'm saying this at the end. Like, I don't know, maybe it's a cliche. But yeah, I love y'all and hope to see y'all on another video. Bye.